Birds chirping.
Tony Caravan. You've been subjected to a highly sophisticated form of propaganda.
It's just what you need, not what you don't.
It's the morning show. Here I am. Again. As they say. I decided that I'm going to have a cola this morning. In the old mug. Let's see what happens. I put in this self tooth repair. Let's see if this like eats through it. No sensitivity thus far. And everything seems otherwise to be working okay. For those of you who just discovered this accidentally,
you're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
Now, I've already passed the threshold of 125 consecutive shows, the equivalent of 5 years of broadcasting for most of these so-called YouTube millionaires. I, of course, are nothing. That sentence makes any sense. I am nothing. I make no money on this. What I'm doing is that I'm experimenting with a open source program that will allow me to change the scene and do some things. So today's show is an experiment. It's called Thunderclap in the title. And the card just says this, or it should say this. And so we're going to play around a little bit and see what works and what doesn't, and I'll take you along for the ride. It's thundering outside, and that's why I'm calling this Thunderclap. And of course, for those unfamiliar with this show, here it comes. That's right. We're cattle. We're cattle, and I'm wearing the cattle bandana. Bandana. And drinking out of the morning show mug. It's a nice camping mug made of like metal. Nobody ever bought one. Except me. I even got the travel. There's a travel version of this, a travel mug. And you know, they've been talking a lot about coin shortages. I'll get to the other stuff in a second. But someone gave me this the other day. And change. Actually, it was yesterday. I was buying some cigars. I had happy hours. The Kennedy $50. You don't see these things much anymore. Right? It's crazy. It's not crazy. It's just interesting. So, yeah, I'm gonna like switch to some stuff. So like if I go to the desktop, this is what the desktop of my computer looks like. And this is a rather older version of my bar in my kitchen. Okay, and you can see my cat there. I've talked about this often, and I've never shown a picture of it. Now, you can see that there's an analog TV up there. That's long since been gone. In fact, there's a refrigerator behind the bar. I wish I could have more. This is my desktop, because I just like this because it was colorful. It was taken around holidays. And you can see I have a washer and a dryer in there, a bar. And like I say, where that metal rack is, that's replaced by a refrigerator to make the bar more of a bar. And I got rid of the Lenin War is over thing. But I mean, you know, you gotta have a kitchen. It's kind of neat. Now, this is something else that I have the capability of doing. And this is an old, like a railroad telegraph slash, that looks like even maybe perhaps a phone there. One of those old phones that had that like accordion type thing, you could pull it out. There's an old typewriter there and a desk with the leather seat, kind of like with those riveted in, whatever they used to call those things. Well, anyway, in the I don't know if it was 50s, sometime around that, mid 1800s, there was an event I referred to often. It was called the Carrington event. And that was when there was a CME, a solar ejection. And what it did was it actually burned the telegraph lines, the existing lines. So this photo might have been taken a little bit after that period because of what appears to be a phone. But this would have been a telegraph, would have been the main means of communications. I wish I had a clearer picture so we could actually see the date on that calendar. But this is the best one I got. I got this from the National Archives. And so I have this ability now to show photos at any given time. But what I'm saying is if this event, this Carrington event happens again, which it may well happen. Let's go back to my scene. If it did indeed happen again in this so-called computer electronic cloud age, what would really happen is that we'd be talking about like kind of a grid down situation. Not kind of, but literally a grid down situation. So, and it's predicted that that's going to happen. So it's crazy. So what I wanted to try to do is see if I can utilize this to find a browser. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can do this on the fly without causing problems. So I'm going to call this, well, you can't see this, but I'm going to try to call up a, right now you may not be seeing anything at all. I'm not sure. But, or you might be seeing some weird thing. What I'm going to do is go to the URL and call this and see what happens. And we're not getting anything there. So that doesn't seem to be working. Let me check the properties on this again. Shut down source when not visible. Reverse cache on current page. Alright, let's try something different. Let's try to go to TonyCaravanLive.com and see what we get. So for some reason it wants to bring in mine. Now the question is, can I add a scene and a browser together? No. Let's see. Let's try this. Scene. Okay, so if I put the browser over here and a scene over here, that doesn't work. Like I say, what I'm doing is experimenting. By the way, this would be my website, and you might want to check it out. But apparently I can come in here and we can go to any website. I also have a site called Rockflux. I know there's some strange things going on. And this is my Rockflux site. And it seems to be holding the frame, so I'm going to adjust the properties here to 920 width. And we'll see what that does. Yeah, that helps. So, hey, we're learning along, you know, together on this thing. It's kind of a weird thing. Actually, let's just go to the standard 1024. Alright, so that's what my website would look like and if you were to go to it. And now I can take this browser here and I'm looking for a website called Suspicious Observers, and I'm wondering if it's .org. See what happens when I do that. No. Oh wait, there it is. There it is. There it is. Cancel that. Cancel. This is an interesting website, and you might want to check this out. It's self-explanatory here, but this guy actually has everything about this potential upcoming disaster. Now, I'm not sure why I don't have the ability to actually do things, you know, on this, you know, which is kind of, you know, no, I'm giving you an image. It gives us an image of a browser, but it doesn't. But check this guy out. He's got a lot of interesting things to say. And I've talked about him before, but I never really showed the site itself. So let me go to properties and then shut down source when not visible. And that way it won't steal bandwidth. Now we're back to me. There's also a delay on this, which is weird, but it's okay. I can actually see that I'm broadcasting on one portion of my screen, but I can see myself directly right now, which is like me looking almost at you in real time. Anyway, I've kept this coloring, this odd coloring. I'm actually wearing a bright green shirt. It's my lucky shirt, the old shamrock on there. But for some reason this morning I wasn't able to get the coloring to change. So let's play with that. Let's see if we can do that. So properties, that's not it. Filters, chroma key, color is green, opacity is like a weird opacity thing you can do. You might notice that. Color spill reduction. Here we go. Alright. Now you could go really green, really colorful. That's what I kind of look like. So now you get the idea of my lucky shirt. Lucko the Irish. But I kind of like this idea of being off color. So let's close that and let's stick with this. It's a little bit different than most webcasts. And
I'm a dead man if I don't get this out of my head.
I can get it out.
How?
A cranial drill and a pair of forceps.
you know, that cola tastes good. I took about 3 days off because I was getting upset stomachs. I had one yesterday too. But I decided to drink a couple of beers and have a few cigars. You can't see. I mean, let's look back at that. Let's look back at this filter again. Chroma key. And see if you can see how red my face is, you know. It's like, I guess that doesn't really do anything. But I get this like extremely dark tan from and you can do various effects. It's interesting. Anyway, the thing's working, and I'm happy about that. So, what can I say? The test. Just when I decided to hit the 125 milestone that I kind of set for myself. I mean, originally it was going to be 100, but I'm against this idea of everything being like 100th or 50th, these anniversary type of things that we arbitrarily have picked for some reason. And so I said, we'll go to 125th, which is good. So I did 125 live consecutive shows. And, now we're looking at an insert. What I want to do is I want to make sure that I unload these images when I'm not using them. And I'm also trying to figure out a way to have an image over top of what you see. And I haven't been able to do that just yet. So we're into video capture device. All right, so we know we're here, and we know we have text over here. Now the question is, can we move an insert? See, I didn't want to do that. I want to stay here. And what I want to do is move a image. So let's see if we can add an image to here. I want to browse an image. And for example, let's look at well, first of all, let's look at the title card. That's not showing up. Okay, you can have permission. So let's look at the title card. And unload this image when not using it. Now what I can do is, this is another nice effect. Now I'm not sure about the cropping aspect of this, but this, actually there is no reason to crop that. So as you can see, it's moving around and everything in real time. But that was my, that's the title card for today's show. So this is kind of neat. And I'll be curious to see in the playback, if it's causing any kind of anomalies. I noticed yesterday that the audio was better. So, for example, let me get to it if I could find it. Hey, this is just this is like a live test. It's the former morning show, or it is the morning show. It's just we're no longer taking ourselves too serious. So, but we're messing around with some things, and so this would be
tape deck alert. Tape deck alert.
Be that kind of thing. And I didn't get hit with any copyright things, so when I played that name that tune type of thing. So maybe we'll do that a little bit if I keep up at this. But what I'm looking for right now is something that where is that? It's in here somewhere. Where is it? It's a problem when you're doing things on the fly and live and you don't have a producer or anyone else in the studio. You've got to deal with this. But I have this clip that I'm looking for.
The only station that matters.
That wasn't it, but just to keep you entertained. And of course,
Really funny. Really funny.
that always brings a laugh. Where is, and of course this show has always been,
It's an excursion into the odd and into the very, very different.
but I can't find this thing. Let's see what this sounds like, because I do think the sound has been improved. Oh, that was cool. That should have sounded interesting in your speakers if you're listening to this with in stereo, as they say, and not through like a mobile phone or something. Reason I'm looking away from the camera is that that's where I have my sound clips, and I'm trying to find a particular one that will definitely show that I've improved the audio and the ability separation of the audio. Where is it? Oh, and by the way, since I always talk about this, this is the most hated sound to me. People and their lawns, their mini golf courses. Like yesterday I was watching something upstairs, and my bedroom's in the back, and I have a neighbor to the, let's see, here would be my left. I'm sitting in my chair because my bedroom I've mounted my TV, larger screen TV on the wall in the bedroom, so it's visible from the bed, but I also have a chair and built myself like a footrest. So and I've got a ceiling fan right above where the chair is. So it's kind of like my getaway place, you know. In the wintertime, it's really, because it's a smaller room, it stays nice and warm. But in the summertime, I have an open window, and I have an air conditioning. I used to live in the front room. This is this is a ridiculous story. Okay. I used to live in the front room, which is big. But the front room faces the street, and it was just too noisy. And it was nicer to have this big, huge room, but I just couldn't, it was waking me up in the middle of the night. So I moved to, and plus it was colder. I used to have even though I have these old-fashioned, the radiators, I still had to put in an extra electric because the room was big enough that it just wouldn't stay warm. So in this back room, the radiators are more than enough. It's a comfortable place. But anyway, I'm there watching something. It's later in the afternoon, early evening, and I'm watching one of these going back, I don't know, maybe binge watching some show. Like, I'm trying to find something really good, but the things I'm watching right now aren't the greatest. Like, they're half decent. Like, I got caught up watching this Black Lightning. I don't know if you've seen that show. So there's a second season of that on Netflix or wherever it is. So I was watching that. Criminal Minds has like another season. I've talked about this before. Let's see, in fact, we'll try it anyway. So my next door neighbor, who I built the gauntlet, a castle wall between, because she's a busybody and nosy and all that stuff, and used to like peek over the fence at me. And I just felt uncomfortable because I like to just lay out when I'm done my yard work, gardening, hanging out. I built this space that's my own personal space, and she just used to always bother me, and I felt uncomfortable. And it's like, anyway, so she was there. like most people this time of year. But fortunately, and we'll get to it, there's so many things I want to get to, you know.
I fear no evil.
So today's going to be a mishmash and a way out of control. But before I get further, let's do the weekend weather.
Weekend weather.
And according to the weather forecast, it's currently 72 degrees in my neck of the woods. Today is June 19th in the calendar year 2021. For those of you buried under thousands of feet of ice in a government shelter that is probably going to be your tomb. I hate to say that. Don't go in those shelters. And Sunday's looking like it's going to be thunderstorms again. Today's thunderstorms on and off, and we're going to get some strong winds. And the overnight's going to be 68 degrees, which so that means it's going to be kind of muggy. You know, opening the window, you know, having thunderstorms all day, moisture. But Monday, it's going to be 84 and muggy during the day, thunderstorms again, but 61 overnight. But here's the kicker. Tuesday, it's going to go down to 64 as a high for the day, and then 46 at night. And then it's going to gradually get into the 70s in the daytime and the 50s at night. It's good tomato growing weather anyway. That's your
Weekend weather.
Why are you telling us this?
Well, I'm not telling it for you, I'm telling it for me. So, and if you don't like it,
You're fired.
so I'm still searching for this thing. But anyway, let's get, so to go to this criminal minds thing. So now I can take this image, this particular image here, and I can move this, I could turn it off or on. I got that. All right. So now what I want to do is I'm looking for a browser, or a window capture. What is that? Window capture. Let's see. Window. Doesn't really. Okay, now let's get out of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to create a new window, and I'm going to go to, this might cause some anomalies and slowing down. Yeah. See if I can find a good picture. You can't see what I'm doing right now, unfortunately. I'm trying to find a good, decent picture of this girl. I mean, this is like a show busy picture. So let's double click on that. And put that in preview. Okay. Now, I'm going to come back to this browser, and I'm going to take an image, add a window capture. Sorry about this. Window capture 3. And picture. Save everything. Okay, so this is AJ Cook, I believe. And this is like this. It says watch on the bottom there. So I got into watching this show because she's the eye candy, right? And I've talked about this in the past, and I think a lot of people won't. They just don't admit this kind of stuff, right? You know, they're afraid. Yeah, but I mean, come on. There's always a character that you're following, unless it's like a really intense thing. Like I was watching that Star Trek Picard for a while. Actually, let me turn this on and make sure the properties are okay. Cancel. Now I'm able to pull anything else I want to out of here. You know, that's the neat thing. So let's cancel that out. But then I could just turn this off, and I can even remove it. I could put it over here. I believe I can, or just delete it. And we have a window capture here that for some reason has just vanished. I don't know what that is. So that one I'm going to delete. Are you sure I want to remove window capture image? And that was the morning thing, and I can leave that there. This one, we could bring her back anytime we want to. She's a cute girl. Nice body, nice face, classic face, you know, the blonde hair, blue eyes thing. She's not a natural blonde, though. Anyway, so that's the kind of, so I was doing that, you know, and then this next door neighbor decides to manicure, you know, these people that have to mow their lawn to where it's like so, you know, it's a golf course. And it's like, I have a lawn in my backyard, but it's so overgrown, and I wish I could show you a picture of it, which I probably can if I can get to YouTube. Let me try something. See, I say I'm new with this thing, and I'm messing with this. So, users this, I see. Video capture device obviously is what I'm on. Still remembering everything. And I'm kind of looking like an idiot in the playback. Alright. And I can't even seem to find this thing. So let's like listen to this while I do that.
Schaefer is the one beer to have when you're having more than one. Schaefer pleasure doesn't fade even when your thirst is done. The most rewarding flavor in this man's world for people who are having fun. Schaefer is the one beer to have when you're having more than one.
Okay, I found it now.
Channel check. Left channel. Left channel.
Now, you should have heard that in the left channel of your earbuds, speakers, or whatever you're listening to. And before, I wasn't able to do that, to get that to work. So that's another plus about this thing, so to speak. Which is cool.
This calls for some big scratching.
Anyway.
Delicious.
All right, so here we go. Let's finish one diet. This is going to be a 2 cola show. 7:16 a.m. My clock on the wall that I'm looking up at is apparently 4 minutes fast. The ice cubes in my cup have not melted, and since I've had this in my cooler, which I used to have on my desk at the ad agency, it says I'm sorry. Let me drop everything and work on your problem. People come in your office. When I used to have an office. It's so nice. I mean, I'd like to have a desk. You know, the thing about these computers and this system setup that I have, is that you don't have that traditional desk, like that desk space. Because I literally, and I can't even do it. Well, when I have done it, you know, it hasn't worked. I don't know if I can get a second camera on here. That would be cool if I was able to, but I tried that once before. See, I have a monitor right here, you know, that I can turn on and have, like, mirror this thing. But every time I've done it, I've had some problems. But let's give it a shot. Want to try this? See if it turned on. Appears to have turned on. So let's do this. Let's turn on this phone. Hopefully this doesn't steal away bandwidth. And as you can see, it's like showing Apple TV. See, this is a complex studio setup that I have here. You know, considering the audio and all these weird effects. That's what I'm trying to show you. And in recent times, you know, over the past several weeks, about the last month, I've been working really hard to like add everything to make this a really good production studio. And I'm just messing around with things for you today because I don't really care anymore because nobody watches. Like right now there's like one viewer, and I think it's all it is the YouTube monitor. But we're gonna get into some, maybe we'll get into Name That Tune in a little while too. So let me get rid of this now. Come on, how does that work? It's like my phone's frozen. Alright. Now we'll go to camera. Just to give you an idea. Alright, you can see my drink. And this will give you a different view, like a bird of back view. The view of what I see. You know, different view of the complicated microphone. This is my other alternative computer. This is where the sound effects generate from. Let's see if we zoom in, we can, well, it's so bright you can't see, but as you can see, there's a second keyboard there. And underneath here, you can see various equipment. I've got two mice, one to control the left computer, one to control the right. There's another computer down there. You see that? Out there is the front window. Like I say, that's the sound effects computer. This is the computer we're working with right now. Some additional audio equipment over there. You know, it's crazy. And then I have like, this is like a little futon downstairs resting area. It's an old oil painting from a friend of mine that I understand he had to like repaint for somebody. And let's see, oh, there it is, the cat. You can see the cat is there. Wondering what the heck's going on. And that's basically it. Now what I wanted to do, if we take this out of here, is show you my backyard. So I can do that by going to, not YouTube, Instagram. There's a link for Instagram this way to the beach. And that's somebody else's stuff. Okay. I've got some people trying to get me to get another cat, and I don't really want to. I mean, I got enough trouble, dealing with... the coloring isn't the greatest right now, but you can see these are some peas and some growth that I've had. But this... let's see if I have a picture. There's a picture of Maggie. It's like the #1 beer in Poland. Pretty good. A friend of mine brought me some of that. I had that a couple of weeks ago. I'm trying to get, I have this view, and let me see if I go to photos, which mostly live in a cloud. This is, like I said, I don't know how, excuse me, how to say it better, but...
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
I mean, basically, she says it the best. So... somewhere in here, I have a picture of my backyard that gives you a feel for it. Because I had made a video. It would have to be in this set, unless I deleted it. But this stuff's supposed to live in a cloud. Oh, here we go. Let's see if this one... yeah, this is it. Okay, that's a picture of my backyard. So, let me darken this a little. Just to give you a little better idea. And then we'll get out of that completely. And so as you can see, that's like on here, wherever it is, that's an apple tree that I grew from a seed. An apple I actually ate, believe it or not. And the garden actually, that movement, I don't know why there's like the weird movement there. That's just some kind of video effect. Because we got so many things going on right now, it's insane. If you think about it. I've got audio, text, pictures in waiting, and I'm showing you live stuff on another camera. But my house is in the distance, and this is taken a while back. My house is almost overgrown. See, I have a detached garage, and if you come back this way, from this photo here, if you come back this away, that's where my garden really is, and I have a lot of these raised beds. And beyond the raised beds, I built this little mini greenhouse. Let's see if I could even find a picture of that. These are various raised beds. You barely see, but you get the idea that this is some intense garden. But I'm not sure if I have. Actually, that's under the bridge that I take sometimes. My cat, close up. People take cat pictures, don't they? This is actually, that was the getup in my bedroom. You can see, excuse me, the old, that's a homemade pizza I made. But you see, I closed that door. There's a radiator on the right, TV mounted on the wall. I've got a bookshelf in there, but beyond, what you can't see is beyond that is a bed and a chair like in front of that TV, which is actually, it looks a little smaller there, but it's actually bigger than it is. It appears. This was an interesting morning shot I took. I used to walk to, I like the winter. This is like 7 a.m. in the winter time. Me walking back from the grocery store, and that on the right hand side, that glow is, on the left is our street lights, but on the right hand side is a full moon. It was like show and tell. This was Christmas at 12:25. My little Christmas tree by my nightstand. And this is like scary stuff. This is me getting ready for my operation. Alright. That's right. So, we're done with that. And we're done with this. And we're done with that. Something fell. I don't know what. I've got the airplane noise in my ears, but you can't hear it. AJ Cook. Yeah, so I mean, you know, it's kind of crazy. And of course, next to my mug, my ugly mug with this ridiculous bandana on, you know, it's like the contrast is horrible. But, you know, she's like kind of like, I think she was a little bit paranoid about, over the course of various seasons, to, you know, I would say, she, you know, she had a child or something, and I guess she put on a little weight, and then she got paranoid, and now she's like got real skinny, and she's got like muscles, you know. It's like, I don't know, I don't go for that thing, you know. Women, to me, I don't think women should have muscles. That's just my personal opinion, you know. Do whatever you want to do. Some people would say,
I think all three of yous popped your stoppers.
yeah, well, that's true.
Rock Flux Live.
Come along, children. Now we're going to have a little music.
Well, let's hear it.
Insert your station call letters here.
Here we
Go.
I gotta go.
You're clear to go.
Hey, don't think this sounds really cool.
Let's roll. Go.
Yeah, so let's play that music game again. See if we see what people can guess. Now, some of these songs I got hit with copyright hits, so like we're really only going to go with 1 second on these things. Name that tune. That's like all I dare go on that. They wanted to take my video down. I'm just going 1 or 2 seconds on these. I mean, you could tell what that is. That's 1 second. It's interesting though. 1 second. Yeah. I don't think you can get a, you know, that was like less than 1 second. 1 second. Name that tune. Less than a second. 1 second. I wish I could play all these songs. See, I'm still thinking that at one point I'm just going to do a live DJ'd show and then just see what they do. I haven't heard that song in a long time. That one you'll never guess. That's easy. That's an easy one. That's very hard. Easy. Excuse me. I have over 20,000 songs in my music collection. Name those tunes. Now, could you imagine? I mean, you know, if I was able to do this and just broadcast this stuff. Less than 1 second. That's a harder one. That's easy, easy as anything. That's 1 second. I mean, you don't think about it, but I mean, you know, I can name that tune in 1 second, right? 1 second, right? That's a little bit more difficult, but it's by the same band as this. And the same band did this. Now I think you got it. They also did this. Actually, and this. I didn't realize. I actually have almost their whole album on here. Greatest hits. I used to always play that. I used to be like a song I'd put on the jukebox every time I'd go into a bar. It's like one of my go-to jukebox songs. That's difficult. That's easy. Very easy. Super easy, less than 1 second. Easy. That's hard because some songs they don't, you know, that have longer introductions. In the old days they would have longer introductions so the DJ could talk over top of it. Very easy. That is kind of easy. And I'd like to play that song. I think you know that band. That's easy. Pretty easy. One of my favorite songs. Dirty deeds done dirt cheap, right? You know, the urban legend that was actually an advertisement in a newspaper, right? And the song's based on that. That's probably an urban legend now. I'd like to play that whole song right now. See, the thing is, YouTube has music, but they have something called YouTube Music. And so I guess in that area, they pay their royalties. But they don't pay royalties for us to use, you know, basically play music. So when we play music, they give us a copyright strike. And sometimes they'll just take down your entire video if you play music. But if it's less than a certain amount, I think it's up to 6 seconds, but I really don't want to push it. You know. This is another good AC/DC song. Oh, I went up to 3 seconds on that. Might have gotten busted. That was an easy one. This is a good one. Jamie's Crying, Van Halen, man. I'd like to play that right now. That's easy. Having fun doing this? I don't know. I think it's kind of neat. See, I mean, I have so many. I mean, and I have newer stuff, you know. We can get out of the rock and roll thing and get into, you know, work our way into the 90s. Well, that's got a long beginning, but yeah, let's see. Stone Temple Pilots. Sublime. Gotta watch that. What I get to. My phone's ringing. $7:37 in the morning. Hey.
Hello. Oh, you're doing your show?
I'm doing a show. Yeah. How's you on your way leaving?
Yeah, I'm on my way leaving.
Thunderstorms.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm gonna try to get there as fast as I can.
Alright, well give me a buzz on the road. I'm not doing this for that much longer.
Okay.
Alright, have a good trip. I'll talk to you later. Bye. A friend of mine's traveling across the state. It's a guy named Jim Thackeray. It's like he's a blues singer. It's good stuff. That's a hard one because they've got a weird beginning. Just some good old boys. Dukes of Hazzard theme. Verve pipe. That's a song called Bongo. Here's a band called the Clarks, who I don't really like that much, but they had one or two decent songs. They won about smoking cigarettes, even though I don't smoke cigarettes anymore. I occasionally smoke cigars. I'm still all for smoking. You know, because whatever, it's like whatever, their attitude, whatever it is they're against it, whatever they're against, I'm for. This song, man, I'd really like to play this one. I'm not a big Eminem fan, but to me, this song was really cool. You ever listen to the lyrics of that? And if you got to watch the video, he's like digging a shovel, he's like digging a grave, Yeah, cleaning out my closet or something weird like that. Cowboy Junkies version of Lou Reed's Sweet Jane, that's a good tune too. It's like a Creed song. Dead Milkman. They Must Be Giants. Dr. Dre. If you're ever into ska, punk ska, drop kick Murphys,
right about
Fatboy Slim, Chemical Brothers. Whoa, went to 3 seconds on that. Like I say, I don't think it really matters, right? I don't know what's going on with that. I can't hear anything. Let's see. Hoobastank. Easy one here.
Cowboy.
Some of the intros to these things That's Johnny Cash. That last Johnny Cash album was pretty crazy. You know, sometimes they do that. I am a believer. Pick up the receiver. Right? That song. But I mean, there's some real, like, kind of just like end of life, depressing songs on there. Like Hurt. His version of Hurt. That's what this one is. See if I jump ahead. I will make you. You know, Limp Bizkit. It's a live. B-52s. Meat Puppets. I mean, it's just endless. I mean, you just can't imagine. This is a classic.
What did you expect? Welcome, Sonny. Make yourself at home.
I don't think you can hear that. That was a cut from Mel Brooks' Blazing Saddles. But it was one of the cleaner cuts. Band called Nada Surf. 2, 3. My Morning Jacket. 9 Inch Nails. And somebody I wasn't really into in the 90s because I wasn't really like watching TV. It was like, is this Natalie Imbruglia. You know, there's a really good video to that song, Torn. You know. And of course this band from the 90s. You know, that album was pretty good. It was pop. That was like the end. To me, that almost signaled the end of pop music, right? You get what you give. I mean, pop rock, you know, alternative. I mean, then you had Beck. See who else there. Oh. Blue Millionaire. That's a song you don't know. I wish I could play that. Let's see. A little bit of Tom Waits. Let's see. You know, U2, to me, Bono sold out. You know, that was a YouTube song. The Toadies. UB40. A little country. Now, all you hear there is the intro. Three Doors Down, Kryptonite. Let's see what else we got here. I mean, I'm not even scratching the surface. I'm just like trying to like scan things and hopefully stop in like an area where I could play a few in a row. Three Marlenas, the Wallflowers.
Stop.
The Pixies. Where's My Mind? Go back to a little bit older stuff. Wild Thing. It's not even let me play that song. I got this thing. Oops. Whoa. No. I actually hit the wrong thing. Sorry for that noise. I have this thing on my old computer where some songs it won't let me play. Steely Dan. That's more Steely Dan. Here's Steely Dan too. Oh, I guess I'm not letting you play the game. Alright, you figure out this one. Get it yet? Social distortion. How about... You know that? That's an easy giveaway. That's a Steely Dan song. Bodhisattva. How about this? It's not letting me play the song. You bastards. See, what happened is, I used to have, this is worthy of ranting on shortly. I used to have this thing, an old email that because I was on the internet before anybody. So I got on the internet mid-90s, and I was one of the first guys to sign up with like Earthlink. Remember Earthlink? That was like before AOL, I think, even. Yeah. And so I was doing stuff. And so when Apple, I used to use my Earthlink address before Apple came out with their Mac Mail. So that's how early I was on before, you know. So I was always a Mac person. I'm using a Mac machine right now. But so, and I was one of the first guys on Apple Mail too in the beginning. So my emails, I could have, in fact, I screwed up royally because I could have had a really wild Apple email. I mean, because I was like, the day they announced it, it's like I signed up. In fact, to this day, I still have like aliases, 3 Apple aliases. They don't even give those out anymore. But I was like on Earthlink. I guess Earthlink's still around. I don't know if it is, but they also had dial-up. That was dial-up days. So I had email, and that was my dial-up thing. And it was great because whenever I traveled a lot around that time, because I moved in the 90s, I was like moving. I moved about, I would say at least a half dozen times in the 90s. Literally moved. And had about, let's see, 3, I think I had about 3 formal jobs, right? 3 or 4 formal jobs. And then I got heavy into internet, so I had my own internet thing. And then I was doing a couple of other projects that in other words, you know, I must have been involved in the 90s in about 8 or 10 different projects. Some of them overlapped. But yeah, the 90s was crazy. So yeah, I must have physically moved address at least 6 times, maybe more. And had all, that's like, it was a crazy productive period. It's like I was back in my hometown. I came back from LA, like late 80s, early 90s maybe. And I wasn't really there. It was like glorious. And I get some people from that era watching these things occasionally. But you know, man, wasn't that a good time? And I have communicated to some people briefly. I'm just never, my family moved away from that town. I have some relatives, like, you know, cousins type of thing, relatives there. But like my parents had moved to Florida, my sister moved to Florida, my brother moved out of the area. So I had my father died, and so I had and basically most direct relatives you know, of course, my grandparents all died. My uncles and aunts, you know, died. They were all older. And, I mean, except with the exception of, you know, one or two. That stay, you know, there's, but I mean, I lost complete, when I left. It was like, you know, no looking back. And then so I did all these different things. And then eventually, when the 2000s came, I was into a lot more things too. You know, because we're talking 25 years ago, 25, 30 years ago, between the early 90s, 30 years ago. Mid 90s is when I like really started getting into high gear. And by that time, I was already out of my hometown. But now, I always wanted to go back. In fact, I would have liked to have been there now, like retired there instead of here. But you know, there was this confluence of events that brought me here. Some property, a business, my last business that I was involved in. I had my own business, and I was doing some work for another business. And so I ended up here, and it's like you get to a certain age, and then you're just there, you know. And so now that I've simplified and retired, I got rid of my car, and I don't drive. I let my license expire. It's a weird thing. So it's like I'll never go back. You know, I would like to go back, but you know, it's not practical. There's not like you can't hop on a train and go to my hometown from where I am. I mean, if you took a bus, it would probably take you like 17 different stops, and you'd have to, you know, take you 24 hours to get there or something. I mean, it'd be ridiculous. You'd be like, have a heart attack. Which I almost thought I was having at one point. That's another thing. And then I had to go through, I had some kidney operations that were ridiculous. You know, maybe even unnecessary. I don't know. I remember I was in, doctors are weird. You get into hospitals, you know, they're opportunists. I remember I was in there to have some kind of, this might gross some people out, but like as if there was some embedded kidney stone in my kidney that had been there for years. So my family doctor kind of guy said, goes, you know, that thing looks like it's been in there forever. But, you know, but the specialist said, you know, that thing needs to be removed because it could if it moves on its own, it could cause blockage, and you could, you know, have some lose the kidney or something. You need the operation. And I remember when I was in the hospital for that, there was like this roving doctors, like this team of doctors came in. They weren't any of my doctors. And they were like, you know, we think we should remove your gallbladder. And I'm like, what's wrong with my gallbladder, right? And, you know, of course, I have this Johns Hopkins doctor who's like really got it together, knows his shit. He goes, you don't need that, right? And so, and I couldn't believe it. These like opportunistic doctors, and imagine how many people go into the hospital for some thing, and they just let these, because you know these doctors, you know, that do a procedure, a gallbladder removal. I don't know what the price is. You know, I'm sure they have like price tags. Probably like 40 grand to do that, or whatever it is they make, because I had full insurance. But anyway, after that kidney thing, I've told this story before, but you know, just since we're on this weird topic. So when I thought all that stuff was over, and I finally got some tests, and they do some biopsy type stuff, and I'm ready. Okay, God, I'm done with this hospital, because I had been in and out of the hospital like 3 or 4 times. I was basically living there. I knew the nurses in the hospital like by first name, you know, basis. It was ridiculous. They were like, knew them better than anybody else in this area. The doctor comes in, hands me a sheet of paper, and it says, "You got cancer, prostate cancer." And I'm like, okay, what does that mean? So anyway, I ended up getting what they call a radical prostatectomy, which is like an 8-hour operation. And luckily I had this doctor, this like high-end Johns Hopkins surgeon, and it was successful. And so for the past year, you have to get your PSA test every like 3 months, and they all came out like zeros. My next one, now I'm in the every 6 months thing, and my next one comes up in July, so like knock on wood that I beat that. But it's like one thing after another as you get a little older. Immortal or not, you still got to go through this stuff. That's a band called Space Hog doing a cover of Cruel to Be Kind. Let's see what else we got here. Edward Kissinger. I don't do Edward Kissinger. You're all useless eaters. Name that tune? Sting. How about this? That's so easy, it's not even worth saying. Spencer Davis Group, Give Me Some Lovin'. It's a 90s song. Here's Where the Story Ends, Sundays. That's obscure. Space Hog. Here's an oldie. Remember that? Incense and Peppermint. Here's a song I wanted to play. It's not letting me play this song. Why? Man. I wanted to play, if you ever get a chance, you know, if you're listening to an old rock station, and this is really pisses me off for years. Whenever they play Born to Be Wild, all right, they always play this like just Born to Be Wild. And it's not, but there's a live album, Steppenwolf Live. And if you can get your hands on that, you know, somehow, those, you know, I mean, you can buy it on, I guess, on Apple. Because I did. It's claiming on this computer that I don't have the right to play it because it's under my Earthlink account. And to make a long story longer, that's how Apple screws you over. In other words, I don't have the Earthlink account, but I literally paid money and bought that song. But anyway, getting back to Steppenwolf, if you like the song Born to Be Wild, you think that's cool, you got to get Steppenwolf Live. It's a 2-album set, all right? But if you just want to do is you buy, I think it's Magic Carpet Ride. One side of the album is Magic Carpet Ride, The Pusher, and Born to Be Wild. It's one side, all right? And it's from a live concert. And if you buy it on, like, for example, iTunes, they have a thing on iTunes that if songs are consecutive on an album, they'll actually play back that way without interruption, you know? And this is one of the this is really, if you are an Apple person, and I'm not, you know, I've got plenty of problems with Apple, all right? Because they're just in it for the money, you know, they're billionaires, you know, hypocrites. But if you have the opportunity, first of all, the Born to Be Wild on the live album makes the one you hear on the radio just sound like nothing. Like you can't imagine. I mean, we're talking about a jam, like 3 guitars or something. But if you get those 3 songs, Magic Carpet Ride, Monster, and Born to Be Wild, and listen to them as they go from one to another, right? Because it was actually a live performance where they just blended and melded these things in. You're talking goosebumps, man. goosebumps. I mean, you're gonna get up and play air guitar, and the Born to Be Wild version on that is just like, it's a frickin' mind blower. But Magic Carpet Ride is also, you know, it's just outrageous. That's an oldie. Stone Temple Pilots. And there's another, The Pusher. Won't let me play it. Man, I thought it was letting me play some of this stuff on here before too. It's not letting me play any Steppenwolf stuff. For some reason, it wants to authorize. It's like, screw you. I just got to delete it so I don't have it on here to mess with me. That's an easy one. Soul Asylum. Here's one you don't want to admit you have in your collection. Spice Girls. Spice up your life. About Soundgarden, Spoon Man. Oh, there I go. I'm giving them away, not giving you a chance to guess. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Well, I'm going to tell you about that. That's Steve Forbert. That's the guy I brought to Pottsville. And hardly anybody showed up. It's a good concert. Great performer. Figure out that one? Sex Pistols. Anarchy in the USA. Got it? Stones. Anybody seen my baby? Anybody? The Reverend Horton Heat, Baby I'm Drunk. What else we got here? That one you can't tell. That Was a Beautiful Morning. How about this one? That's pretty easy. Santana.
Is this the
That's like easy, so easy. I don't think anybody knows that. That's Rare Earth, Born to Wander. It was an obscure track on the album. Let's see what we got here. Figure it out? Radiohead, Creep. Cumbersome. 7, Mary, 3. Nobody knows that one. That's Prefab Sprout, a song called Farron. Yeah, that's, can't play enough of that. It's an oldie but a goodie. The Raspberries. If you know the song. REM, It's the End of the World as We Know It, which is kind of a true thing. I don't know if that's enough. Rollins Band. Do you ever see the cover of that? Rollins Band, that song Liars on it. It's like this girl with like naked with dollar bills all over her. The long version of Maggie May, Rod Stewart. Anybody? Peaches, Presidents of the USA. Let's see what else we got here. Ruby, Soho, Rancid. Smooth Operator. Stuck in the Middle of You. That was from, remember Reservoir Dogs? Here's like a clip. I think I might be able to get away with this.
Joe Egan and Jerry Rafferty were a duo known as Steeler's Wheel when they recorded this Dylan.
That was the intro to that song. Let's see what we got here. Not enough. Bueller? Anybody? Bueller? It was Megadeth. Don't forget that. Impossible. Mother Love Bone, Crown of Thorns. I used to play that song live at a bar called Hucklebucks. Frampton used to live near me, and I lived out in Hollywood. Bueller, Marshall Tucker Band. That could be a lot of different songs, but that was no doubt hella good. And that's Nazareth, Hair of the Dog. Sorry for calling some of these out. It's just that this list is endless. I think I might have played that one before. That's dead good. Everybody knows that one, like this. Right. I don't even need to say it. That's another one of those Jimmy Thackeray and the Drivers. If you ever get a chance, listen to, there's a Jimmy Thackeray and the Drivers live album. And if you're into like live blues, that album will just blow you away. You know, I mean, literally. I wish I could play the whole thing right now.
Long ago,
That's an easy one. John Lennon, of course. Remember that TV show, Moonlighting? I had the whole set, and I like sold it on like eBay like years and years ago. I don't know why, because I'd love to like binge watch that. I had like this box set of CDs, DVDs of it. And it's like some shows, like, they don't have, you know, you get Netflix and there's like literally thousands or 10,000 movies or shows on there. And there's these certain shows you remember and you want to see, you know. It's like I say, I'm binge watching this stuff because like I'm watching this, you know, eye candy, you know, girl. I mean, she is hot though, man. I've always had a weakness for like, man. But it's like, you know, Moonlighting was a great show. You know, it really was. And I'd love to binge watch, you know, every series of that. I mean, every episode of that series. And, you know, country song. Kenny Chesney. No shoes, no shirt, no problems. Just tell that story when I walked into a I was wearing a red shirt in a blue neighborhood in LA. Yeah. Oh, here's the other Johnny Cash. Your own personal. I ought to do a Johnny Cash show, right? Either that or Elvis. Thank you very much. Rap, Jewel thing. That was a good tune. That's hard to tell, but that's Kiss, Rock and Roll All Night. Let's see if we go to the middle and play a second of it. Party every night. The good old days, right?
She hates my mama.
Lyle Lovett, man. You know, you don't. A lot of people don't know Lyle Lovett. He's pretty good. Like, here's another Lyle Lovett song. It's like called Country Swing. You know, I used to always like that movie. I traveled around, you know, south and southwest, and you know, there's even a bar in State College where there used to be a band that used to play Country Swing. They were really good. I forget the name of them. They were good. Get that one? Journey. We're covering a lot of territory here. Let's see what we got here. Here's an oldie. Band of Gold. Hole. Celebrity Skin. How about song? My band used to play this back in my late grade school, early high school band. That's not enough of it. Grand Funk Railroad. Remember this thing on TV?
Conjunction, junction.
Remember that? When we were kids. If you're my age. That's an easy one. You know it. Heart.
There's a thunderstorm brewing.
Fall in Philadelphia, Hall & Oates. Like kind of one of their first songs. Bueller. Gin Blossoms, Found Out About You. Isley Brothers, Harvest for the World. That's a really good tune. A lot of people don't know about that. It's an oldie but goodie, as they call it. Garbage, I'm Only Happy When It Rains. How about this? That's easy. Oldie, Inagata Davida. Green Day. That's a harder one. That's the Meditate edit from In Excess that's like was copied from that Dylan song where he's holding up the cards. Let's see if we go further in and just give you an example. That was a decent tune. Guns N' Roses, Mr. Brownstone. It's a little more obscure. Same band. Guns N' Roses again. How about this? I could name that tune in one note. Golden Earring, Radar Love. Glenn Fry, Smuggler's Blues. Suicide Blonde, In Excess. Sorry for finishing these for you. Got it? Gin Blossoms. That's too easy. We just mentioned the band that did that before. Doobie Brothers. I could go on forever with this. I gotta stop. That's ridiculous. I mean, we're getting it. It's like, I don't know. That was fun, though. I don't know. I mean, it's fun for me.
No soup for you.
Okay. No soup for you. Anyway. And it's time for beginning the show. An hour, 36 minutes into it. I didn't want to do a long show like this. And I don't know. I was just testing out the stuff. So we'll take one last look at AJ Cook. And you see on her arms right there, she has like muscles now because she like worked out because she was paranoid. It's like these Hollywood actresses, they get paranoid, right? They think they're too, I don't know. I think they gain too much weight or something like that. It's like, you know, the girl's not, in that picture, she's not fine. I mean, unless you're...
Did you accidentally inject yourself with some kind of psychotropic agent?
Anyway, I think...
the only station that matters.
I think I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to take a walk down to the grocery store in between the raindrops.
Good morning!
Because, you know, it's about that time. So... Thanks for watching. Yesterday was like a cold stop, so I'm going to stop streaming